Number 10, the Wonder Twins. Look, they aren't really Justice League members, but they were interns, which is like part of the way there, right? Maybe. If you watched that video about weird DC multiverse characters, then you know these two. The Wonder Twins are two alien siblings from the planet Exor, who possess some interesting shape-changing powers. The sister Jaina has the ability to transform into any animal, which is a potentially very useful and powerful ability, and it's always pretty fun. The brother, on the other hand, Zan, is capable of turning into water in any of its states, so liquid, steam, or ice. Again, potentially pretty cool, but more often it's not though. And honestly, he always seems to play second fiddle to his sister anyways. The two were first introduced in Super Friends, where they were much more cheesy and did a whole lot of fist bumping. They still do, but it's sweet now. Number 9, HAWKGIRL, a classic. After assisting in the defeat of Barbados and the Dark Knights, Kendra Saunders' HAWKGIRL was recruited to join the new Justice League as HAWKGIRL, a core member of the team. Nice. While not a totally new character, she did have a fight with Barbados, and that gave her this new nth metal fusion power. This gives her nth metal psychoreactive wings that look totally awesome. They can slice through flesh and are able to completely heal all by themselves. She has been reincarnated so many times and has so much experience that she makes an extremely effective and powerful member of the Justice League. As well as her cool new wings, Kendra also has several powers including enhanced strength, enhanced durability, enhanced vision, accelerated healing, self-sustenance, and has been taught telepathic resistance by Martian Manhunter. Unfortunately, she was one of those members of the League affected by the death of the Justice League thing. But that leads us directly into the next 5 points, so that's good. Number 8, Jace Fox's Batman. Okay, yes, I'm structuring this a little differently. So after the death of the Justice League, 5 legacy characters have been teased to be stepping up into the mantles of their predecessors. Timothy Jace Fox seems to be the one stepping into the role of Batman. First appearing in Dark Knight's Death Metal number 7 last year, he actually took on the role of Batman after Gotham became a police state ruled by the Magistrate, who hunted down masked characters, and Batman seemingly met his demise. That's Bruce Wayne Batman. Jace wears a batsuit very similar to the classic, only with a full face covering. In the art for the new Dark Crisis coming out next month, he seems to just have a regular cowl though. He has created a new bat symbol and has teamed up with Jason Todd Nightwing. He also hums to himself while fighting criminals, which is kinda cute, honestly. Number 7, Jo Maleen's Green Lantern. Sojourner Maleen was granted a Green Lantern ring after she was unceremoniously fired from the New York City police force. She became the Green Lantern of an unnumbered sector, with her first main job being in the City Enduring, an alien planet city inhabited by 3 previously warring races. She's tasked with solving the city's first murder in 500 years. It's pretty serious. Jo's ring recharges over time instead of requiring a battery, which, as a trade-off, makes it a bit weaker. It's still a Green Lantern ring though, so she ain't someone to mess with. This non-reliance also proves really useful when the central power battery explodes at a Green Lantern meeting Jo was running late to, taking out a bunch of lanterns and depowering a whole heck of a lot more of them. She took charge here like a true hero should. She has been teased to be taking over the role of Green Lantern. Obviously. Number 6, Jackson Hyde's Aquaman. Jackson Hyde is actually the son of one of Aquaman's main villains, Black Manta, but luckily he fights for justice, hence being part of this video. As Aqualad, with his hydrokinesis and Atlantean powers, he has been a part of the Teen Titans, Young Justice, and has fought alongside Aquaman against his own father, and has even temporarily stepped into the mantle of Aquaman in one of his major story arcs. He has proven himself capable, if not a little undisciplined, and he, alongside Jo Maleen, Jace Fox, Yara Flor, and John Kent, was part of the alternate Justice League in Future State, so we know he has the means to take over the role. Just like the last two, he is poised to take over the position of Aquaman, allegedly, in the upcoming Justice League. Number 5, Yara Flor's Wonder Woman. Ayla was an Amazonian who left Themyscira and settled in Brazil, where she fell in love with a Brazilian river deity. You know, like you do. The child these two would create became the Amazonian Brazilian demigod Yara Flor. Living in an Amazonian village, they were attacked by agents of the Greek gods, and Ayla lost her life. But Yara was taken to Idaho by a woman named Renata, who became her adopted mother. After her return to Brazil, she gets magical golden boleadoras, meets a human she hits it off with, is stabbed with an arrow by Eros, who she falls in love with, and is taken to Mount Olympus, where she is trained, given gifts, and gets a Pegasus named Jerry. Nice. She's offered the role of becoming Hera's champion, but after learning of her true origins, she refuses, and after a lot of scuffling, she brings some Amazons to defeat those responsible for the de-lifing of her own mother. She has become Wonder Girl, and was Wonder Woman in that future state Justice League I keep talking about to defend my reason for putting these characters on this list. It will be cool to see her actually step into the role of Wonder Woman, if that's what happens. Number 4, John Kent. And last, but extremely not the least, apparently, stepping into the role of Superman in the Justice League will be none other than his own son, Jonathan Samuel Kent. Look, it just makes sense. John obviously was a member of the League's reserves before this point, but taking over the role of his father would be a big step up if it is ultimately what comes to pass. The son of Clark and Lois Lane, Jonathan began fighting crime at the age of 10. John possesses all the same powers as his father, plus a solar radiation explosion thing that isn't really under his control. According to Batman, he actually has the potential to surpass his father's power levels thanks to his half-human physiology, which kind of makes no sense to me, but whatever. Jonathan actually became Superman when his father left Earth to go to War World, so he has had a bit of experience, which will hopefully help him if he does become the new Superman of the Justice League next month. And that covers every one of the characters teased to take over the respective roles in the League. A few of these characters are part of the future Justice League, so it remains to be seen what role exactly these few will play, and I may have doomed myself to be roasted in the comments, so there's that. Number 3, Hippolyta, or however you want to say it. Queen of Themyscira, she takes over the role of Wonder Woman in the Justice League in the Infinite Frontier storyline. Now, Diana isn't perished. Well, she is now, but not when her mother took over in the Justice League. Diana had ascended after defeating the Darkest Night, and with Hippolyta having dubbed Nubia as the newest ruler of Themyscira, she was pretty free to take on the role in the Justice League. It's interesting to see her interact with Aquaman, and the small amount of time her and the number 1 spot got to work together was also rather interesting. As an Amazonian, she possesses pretty much all the same powers as her daughter, just better because, you know, she's been around longer. Unfortunately, this whole thing didn't last very long with the whole death of the Justice League thing. Number 2, NAOMI McDuffie. Joining the team just after our number 1 spot in Justice League Volume 4, number 63, NAOMI McDuffie is a teenage energy-based hero who was actually sent to the Prime Earth from an alternate reality to be spared from this really crazy villain, Zumbado, who rules over her native Earth. While her powers are unstable and she hasn't quite learned a complete control over them yet, Powerhouse's powers are confirmed to be Omega level in nature, so that's enough to put her pretty high on this list. She basically transforms into a golden armored superpowered form, which gives her a kind of energy projection that she uses to enhance her punches, making them very super indeed, and she also uses them to fire energy blasts. Interestingly, NAOMI can also augment magical powers, kind of opposite to how Superman is weakened by them. In her super form, she can fly and obviously has super strength and durability. Number 1, Black Adam? What? That's right, joining the Justice League in Volume 4, number 60 of the team's self-titled comic, thanks to an invite from Superman, it's my second favorite Adam other than myself. Teth Adam was an unwilling laborer back in ancient Egypt who received power from the wizard Shazam, just like that other guy in red with a lightning bolt. What was his name again? I forget. Black Adam actually loses his life, and after his resurrection was no longer powered by the wizard. Instead, he gained his power from 6 Egyptian deities: Shu, Horus, Amun, Sehuti, Aten, and Mehen. Funny how they happen to still spell it Shazam though, huh? And he still shouts Shazam to activate his powers too, naturally. He also makes for quite a great leader, being the ruler of the African nation of Kondak. However, he hasn't traditionally been a great team player, and well, the whole supervillain anti-hero thing doesn't really help his case either. I'm just interested to see where this goes, to be perfectly honest.
And at 10, Ambush Bug. Ambush Bug is just an all-around terrible character, okay? His real name is supposedly Erwin Schwab, but he has mental problems that prevent him from truly understanding the reality around him, so even his true identity might be no more than a delusion on his part. His origin is also disputed, although the most commonly accepted origin is that Brum-El of the planet Schwab sent his clothes from his supposedly doomed planet, hoping that his wardrobe would survive, only to have it intercepted by a giant radioactive space spider. In the resulting crash, only 2 articles of clothing survived, one being the ambush bug suit, which was subsequently found by Erwin. His powers include the ability to teleport at will, which is never explained, and the uncanny ability to annoy everyone around him, even more than me talking about the Hulk on this channel. This guy also started out as a supervillain, and the original pitch, according to the creator, Keith Giffen, the same man who created Lobo and Blue Beetle, was, quote, Bugs Bunny as a villain. And I think that says it all.
Number 9. Tasmanian Devil. The Hulk. Wolfsbane. Beast Boy. Characters that change into beasts are awesome, depending what they turn into. So when Hugh Dawkins turns into a were-Tasmanian Devil, it's just not what anyone was looking for. While it may seem super fitting for the Australian to turn into a marsupial, and while he may look somewhat cool, I don't know. For some reason, he has a giant T naturally appearing on his chest when he transforms, just to make sure you know that he is not a wolf, but specifically a Tasmanian Devil, because if he was a wolf, then he'd just be another werewolf character, and he's way cooler than that. He's a were-Tasmanian Devil. And that's cool, Mom!
Oh, hold on, before we go on with the video, okay? You gotta come over to the new channel, my new channel, Minecraft Nightmare, okay? Look, scary Minecraft all the time. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it's fun, okay? So come do it. Minecraft Nightmare. Link is in the description, I hope. And it ain't Nort. Some of us love an animal-themed superhero. Others love an animal-human hybrid superhero. However, those who find themselves to be fans of Squirrel Girl might not know about what is probably one of the worst DC equivalents, Nort, with a G. Originally a member of the Green Lantern Corps, which doesn't really mean much since there is literally a Green Lantern that is just a planet, Nort eventually became a member of the Justice League Antarctica, which by name alone indicates how meaningless it is in the overall JL hierarchy. And while his character may have been made as a joke, being stupid and incompetent by trade, it is still surprising just how bad he truly is. I mean, he's a red dog human, for God's sakes. Like, how do you come up with this design? Who thought that this would be a good idea?
Number 7. Faith. When the original Justice League was teleported thousands of years into the past, a new Justice League was formed, and Faith was one of those premier members. Only she was more like the member. See, the problem with Faith was that she solved pretty much any problem. She would almost always show up with some new power that was exactly what the League needed at the time. When she was part of a Black Ops team before the Justice League, she was literally nicknamed the Fat Lady. She ain't fat. It was a reference to the saying, "It ain't over till the fat lady sings," because literally whenever she showed up, the fight was over. So then what's the point of having a team at all? Fans found her boring, and she was basically just a plot device. A waste of a powerful character, if you ask me.
And at 6, Blue Jay. Jay Abrams, known as the crime fighter Blue Jay, first appeared in Justice League of America number 87 in February of 1971, and was made as an homage to the Marvel character of Yellow Jacket. However, while Yellow Jacket had an explanation for his powers, Blue Jay didn't. He could shrink to 7 inches tall for reasons, and he could grow wings for more reasons. Seriously though, these reasons are never explained. And having no explanation is worse than the yellow sun giving him power. Having no explanation is worse than nanotech, for God's sake. Having no explanation is worse than Catman from Fairly Odd Parents. Blue Jay is just Hawkman with a stupid mystery, and that's not something I tend to enjoy, okay? It's freaking ridiculous. The lack of explanation as to how this man has the powers he does, and why, is ironically enough, the reason he's on the list.
Number 5. Kongorilla. You remember the Tasmanian Devil. I said that heroes who turn into beasts are cool. William Glenn Morgan is actually cool. He can transfer his mind to a gorilla. He can also change size and has a healing factor. So what's the problem? For starters, he's called Kongorilla. Get it because he's a gorilla and he's from the Congo? Secondly, Congo Bill, yes that was his nickname, was part of a horrible Justice League run by James Robinson. Pile on top of that the fact that in said Justice League run, he was highly underutilized and was completely overshadowed by better named characters, and you've got a short-lived Justice League member who you ain't gonna find on pretty much anyone's favorite list.
And at 4, Godiva. Dora Lee is the British superhero Godiva and a member of the Justice League International. And her power? Prehensile hair. Sometimes called psychokinetic hair, prehensile hair is a term used to describe the ability of some characters to move their hair in impossible ways, kind of like a tail. Not only can the character move their hair, but they can also use it to wrap up opponents, knock out armored thugs, and contend with larger enemies. But you know what? That isn't even enough for me to consider her a decent Justice League International member, okay? Because like, what? Basically, this is Rapunzel so blasted out that she whips her hair back and forth like Willow Smith and thinks that she's controlling her hair with her mind. Her power reminds me of how like every single time you're trying to cuddle up with a girl, but like no matter what, you always have hair in your face and it's never comfortable because there's at least one strand of hair is always comfortably on your face, but you're not comfortable. The hair is comfortable, but you're not.
Number 3, Maxima. Maxima. You had the potential. You see, Maxima had a power set that put her on par with the likes of Superman. She was also an alien from the planet Almerac. The problem with Maxima doesn't come from her powers or anything like that. No, see, the problem with Maxima is that her planet's population is dwindling, and her #1 goal is to find a man to do the repopulating with. Seeing Superman as the perfect mate, she goes after him only to be turned down, leading her to join a Superman revenge-based team and then join the Justice League to try and seduce him. Surprisingly, it didn't work, and she would turn her sights on Captain Atom and then Amazing Man. And then she bit the dust thanks to Brainiac. She could have been someone. She could have been a contender.
And ultimately, into number 2, Batman. Yeah, that's right, I'm calling out your glorious Batman, so pipe down for a second, okay? It's my turn. While being one of the founding members of the league, Batman has had some serious trust issues that bring down the team. Mostly I'm talking about his whole various plans to bring down the members if they end up going rogue thing. An understandable concept in theory, but I mean it doesn't really go over well considering how Ra's al Ghul steals the plans and then puts them into action. While yes, he isn't as bad as some of the other characters on this list in their contexts, in this context, he really does screw up. I mean, if they weren't the protagonists and their deaths wouldn't result in the loss of millions of dollars for DC, they would not have been able to stop Ra's from wiping out every league member and just taking the whole league off the board. Let's be realistic here, okay? Batman may be good at what he does, but he's not a good teammate. Batman is amazing at whatever he's doing at the time, unless that thing is being on a team, in which case he kinda sucks. And it's, you know what, he's one of the worst Justice League members because of this. Get mad all you want. Deep down, you know I'm right.
Number 1, Mistech. More like mistake. Look guys, I know it was a bad joke, okay? Everyone here told me it was a bad joke. I'm trying to do better. I will do better, okay? I'm sorry. Everyone loves a comeback story. When Mistech, a woman named Seong Barclay, first came on the scene, she was a pretty low-tiered villain. She wore the armor of her late father, which gave her a masculine-looking physique while in the suit, and she had energy-projecting abilities. Eventually, Martian Manhunter recruited Mistech for his Justice League task force, which, I mean, how could she say no? Maybe if she took into account her claustrophobia. Superheroing doesn't necessarily bring you into confined spaces, that's fair. But when there is a possibility of being put into a spacecraft and going off into space, that's when things get a little problematic. And it's what they did when the Justice League task force had to go into space and Mistech panicked. She shot a hole in the craft and got sucked out into space, ending her short-lived membership on the Justice League task force. I almost feel bad for her. Not really, almost.
Coming in at number 10, we have Damian Wayne, the son of Batman. Genetically engineered and grown in an artificial womb following a night of passion between Talia al Ghul and Bruce Wayne, Damian was intended by the villain Ra's al Ghul to be his ultimate successor as the ruler of the League of Shadows. Trained to be an assassin from an incredibly young age, Batman wasn't even aware he had a son until the boy was 10 years old and left in his care by Talia. And while initially the father and son combo had some issues sorting out their issues and Damian's stance on Batman's whole no-killing rule, Damian has since become an important member of the Bat family as the 5th Robin and continues to be an essential ally of Batman to this day. Coming in at number 9, we have Shane Johns, the son of Martian Manhunter and HAWKGIRL from an alternate future. While attempting to find a way to prevent Lex Luthor from unleashing the Dark Goddess Perpetua, the Justice League found themselves traveling through a 6-dimensional doorway to a future where the forces of good had seemingly finally won their constant battle with the forces of evil. All of the members of the Justice League seemed to have found happiness, especially HAWKGIRL and Martian Manhunter, who had an ambitious young son named Shane. Unfortunately, this reality turned out to all be a ruse by the World Forger, but in a weird twist, Shane still decided to ally himself with the real Justice League, and used his incredibly strong psychic abilities to help save the day. That'll do, kid. That'll do. Coming in at number 8, we have Cube, Cyborg's son from a dark possible future. Hailing from a world where a force known as the Darkness has threatened to corrupt all of the Earth's heroes, Cube's real name is George Marvin Stone. The son of Cyborg, Cube is literally a human mother box, connected down at the DNA level to one of the most iconic objects in the entire DC universe. Because of this complete integration with alien technology, Cube is able to perform all of the tech-based powers that his father has, alongside being capable of generating his own teleporting boom tubes whenever he wants. With all of those powers combined, Cube is definitely a cyborg you don't want to mess with. Coming in at number 7, we have Zod, the born-in-a-lab spawn of an evil Superman and Wonder Woman from the world of the Justice Lords. Named after one of Superman's most iconic villains, this Zod was born on a world where Superman turned to the dark side and turned the Justice League into the Justice Lords following the death of their universe's Flash. Unfortunately, following the birth of Zod, the baby was kidnapped by a brainiac from another universe and locked away in the Phantom Zone, which is probably the least ideal place possible to raise a child. With both Kryptonian and Amazonian blood flowing through his veins, Zod was beyond dangerous even if he just remained a little kid. Coming in at number 6, we have Nightwing, the adopted son of Batman and the very first Robin. While not biologically a child of the Justice League, Dick Grayson has been by Batman's side since nearly the very beginning, essentially adopted by Bruce Wayne following the death of his circus performer parents, and becoming the very first Robin, the Boy Wonder. Since then, Dick Grayson has accomplished a lot, helping found the Teen Titans, establishing his own superhero identity as Nightwing, and even briefly taking over the position of Batman on a few occasions where Bruce Wayne was incapable of performing the role. No matter what the future of the DC Universe brings, Nightwing will always be an incredible fan favorite. Coming in at number 5, we have Terry McGinnis, aka the next Batman. Originally appearing in the beloved animated series Batman Beyond, Terry was the sarcastic and wisecracking next-generation Batman in a dystopian future Gotham, led by an elderly and retired Bruce Wayne. However, unlike Nightwing, Terry's connection to Bruce wound up being more than just as an adoptive father, as it was eventually revealed that Bruce Wayne is biologically Terry's father, as Terry's actual dad had his genetics replaced by those of Bruce Wayne, essentially making the two heroes related. Even without this connection though, Terry McGinnis stood out as a worthy successor to Batman, developing his own iconic rogues gallery and even being able to defeat villains that the original Batman never could, such as the Joker. Coming in at number 4, we have Hunter Prince, the potential future son of Wonder Woman. In the same dark future that Cyborg's son Cube hailed from, Wonder Woman was one of the first heroes to be infected by the darkness, giving birth to a son that could become an even more powerful vessel for the villain. Wonder Woman gave the boy up to Superman and Lois Lane, hoping that they would be able to prevent her son from going to the dark side, but unfortunately, Hunter believed his mother was giving him up because he was male, as was Amazonian custom. Growing up angry at the previous generation that had failed him, Hunter possessed all of the strengths of Wonder Woman, including her lasso of truth and bracelets of submission, making him a truly powerful and angry enemy. Coming in at number 3, we have 2 for the price of 1 with the Tornado Twins, the potential villainous children of the Flash. Born in the 30th century when Barry Allen had briefly retired there with Iris West, these versions of the twins grew up without a father, as Barry was believed to be dead and never returned to that timeline following the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Filling the place of Barry in his absence was unfortunately the Reverse Flash, a villain dead set on ruining Barry's life and creations in any way possible, and turning Barry's twin children into supervillains was right up his evil alley. Having since become members of the Legion of Zoom, a collective of speed-based villains, Dawn and Dawn Allen have the full power of the Speed Force at their disposal, making them incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous. Coming in at number 2, we have HYPERMAN, a distant future version of the potential son of the Man of Steel. In the same reality where the storyline Kingdom Come took place, the young son of this reality Superman, Jonathan Kent, was kidnapped by the villain known as GOG and encased first in a prison of kryptonite and then trapped within the weird branch of reality known as Hypertime. Luckily, someone was there to watch over the infant, his own future self, a hero known as HYPERMAN that was destined to become even greater than Superman. The baby was eventually able to be saved through the joint efforts of the Kingdom Come universe and the main DC universe's heroes, and the Kingdom Come parents of this child are now determined to make sure that HYPERMAN's bright future becomes a reality. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have Jon Kent, the true son of Superman. Half Kryptonian and half human, Jon Kent was the most recent hero to take up the mantle of Superboy, using everything he'd learned from his parents, Clark Kent and Lois Lane, to be an inspiring force for the people of Earth. Aging quicker than usual due to weird time travel and reality-hopping hijinks, Jon Kent has since become the new Superman, taking over his father's position as the defender of truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, and trying to find his own place in the growing DC Omniverse. And to make things even more interesting, Batman has even theorized after examining Jon's DNA that the unique combination of human and Kryptonian genetics in his blood might mean that he could surpass even his own father when it comes to power once he's fully grown. All of this is to say that Jon Kent is, in my opinion, the most powerful son of the Justice League.